All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Stuart's already cracked open his beer, so I think that means it's time to start cooking.
All your beer, yep.
Hope you all are doing well, staying well, and not going too crazy with everything that's going on. I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit of cabin fever. I tried to get outside and get some fresh air today, but it's just weird being home 90% of the time. I mean, it's nice in some respects, but in other respects, it's also, you crave some other kinds of human interaction.
That's why Twitch was invented.
Well, I mean, even with Twitch, even with, the company I work for does meetings with video and audio, and it helps, but it's still not quite the same. And I'm an introvert, this whole situation is kind of like an introvert's dream come true in some respects. but even introverts do sometimes require actual human interaction.
It's interesting too, because you usually peg me as like the more extroverted introvert. Like
You are.
Yeah, I'm more extroverted. I don't know how that happens. But I am doing like great right now.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just like, I will stay upstairs and surf the internet for like 14 hours straight and then go to bed and wake up the next day and do it again.
Evening, Zap. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I think part of it as well is just that Buster is still recovering from his surgery. He's doing a lot better now, which is good, but it's also, he's in that in-between spot of where he's still healing, so he needs to keep his cone of shame on, because the surgery site is super itchy now that it's healing, and so if he got the cone off, he would it wouldn't be a good time. So he's full of energy though, so he's eager to be out doing walks, doing his all usual stuff, but the cone is limiting for him. And he still has stitches in there, so he can't go on his usual long walks or do his usual rough playtime that we sometimes have.
So instead he's just ramming a cone into the back of our
so he's like a canine battering ram right now, with this huge cone just running into things, places that he could usually slide under or be able to get to. He's not able to, so he just rams it with his cone. It's funny to watch, but you also feel bad for him.
And the back of your ankles.
Yeah, so I feel like he's kind of suffering a little bit since he's not able to get energy out like he usually is. And I'm suffering because I'm not able to help him do that, and I'm not getting the usual exercise. I don't know. I'm being super negative, but shorthand, yeah, it's getting to me a little bit, and hopefully things will get better.
I do feel like I could use a long bike ride, though.
Yeah, I need something to get energy out, and like I said, I was able to get a bit of a walk today, but nothing like I would really like. Hello, Bemused Duck. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope things are all right in your neck of the woods. So we'll see. It hasn't helped too that it's been super hot here in Alston. It's been unusually like almost summertime weather here. We're talking like upper 80s, low 90s Fahrenheit, obviously, and that's like early summer temperatures, not March temperatures. So that makes it also difficult to go outside and burn off some energy. There he is with his cone. It's his new cone. He
cracked the old plastic cone straight down the middle, and I happen to have a backup cone because I planned for these eventualities because I'm neurotic.
Well, you were thinking of Buster in terms of just being comfortable, because this is actually marketed as a comfy cone.
That's its literal name.
That's its literal name, because it's padded. It's not just a hard plastic cone like he had before.
And I think it took him about like half a day to realize like, oh, I can lay down in this, and now he seems way more comfortable.
Yeah, he's comfortable in it, but again, that's good and bad, because now he feels like, oh, I can just go back to my usual behavior, but he doesn't realize I've got this wider girth around my head now that I have to account for. Anyway.
Also, when he chews on a bone like that, he looks like he wants somebody to bring him pictures of Spider-Man.
It looks like a cigar almost.
Do you get that joke, by the way?
Yes.
I've told it like 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, I don't know if that one's landed or not.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I forget his name. But
J. Jonas Jameson?
Yeah.
JJ.
Yeah, always trying to get pictures of Spider-Man. Let's see. Beer tonight. So I'm going to do an odd side ale tonight. I've had a few of these on stream before, and I've loved every single one. So we're going to do another one tonight. This is I think I've had the regular dank juice. I think I had it on stream because it sounds familiar. But this is the passion fruit dank juice. So
The passion of the juice.
the passion of the juice. So we'll see how this one is.
So how's everyone's evening going? Y'all managing to get food or just like eating mac and cheese and takeout burgers?
Yeah, how is the food situation for y'all? I finally managed to get flour. That's good. It's like a little tart from the passion fruit, which goes well with kind of the bitter of the. It's double dry hop, so it's definitely got slightly hazy beer, rich in juicy fruit, tropical notes and aromas. Yeah, that's really good. I do like some of these, even though the hazy IPAs have their own kind of citrusy, tropical kind of notes just by the nature of the hops that are used. I do like it when they add some fruit juice to it, because it just enhances that flavor, and in this case it has a really nice tart note to the hops, which kind of helps balance out sometimes the fruity citrusy flavors can be a little bit too heavy, so it kind of counters that a little bit. Oh. Peeling shrimp, nice. What are you having with shrimp? So yeah, I managed to get flour, vacuum sealed package of flour. I forget if I mentioned this on Tuesday. I've been trying to go to supermarkets to get flour, and they've been sold out, which has been crazy. I mean, it's crazy that people are hoarding stuff to begin with, but I never would have guessed that flour would have been one of the things that supermarkets would run out of and people would hoard. So this is actually from a local restaurant as well as their takeout menu that they're offering while their dine-in service is shut down. They're also offering staples, and I don't know if they usually offer staples. I feel like this is just something they're doing during these unique circumstances. But yeah, this is just from their large supply of, because they make their own bread and biscuits in-house, so they're just vacuum sealing their own supply and offering it for sale. So that's how I finally managed to get some flour. So my starter can be fed. It'll be happy about that.
Yeah, they had eggs too.
They have eggs, and there was a couple other things too. It was pretty cool.
I saw a news person tweet about starters or sourdough starters today.
Starter starters seemed fine. Then I discovered that you have to feed them flour regularly, and now they seem demonic. That was kind of small.
This is my blob of thick gray mush. I've named him Charlie. You have to feed Charlie, the best of the wheat harvest, trampled to ground dust by the power of the wind. If you don't feed Charlie, he gets very upset with you.
I think I was a little too generous with my sourdough starter. This is the sourdough starter from after I made the bread on Saturday. It usually does not fill the container this much. It usually goes up to maybe about here. It was very happy after the last feeding. I think I used a little bit more than I usually do. Mostly because I was using most of the starter to make the sourdough bread. I wanted to make sure I had enough to keep the supply going. And I think I used a little bit too much, but hopefully it won't overflow the container. And I'm thinking about making more bread this weekend. We'll see. Still not sure what I'm doing for Saturday's stream, so maybe that'll be what we do.
Oh man, we have a loaf of bread already in the freezer, so
Yes.
we could do a recipe centered around that loaf of bread and then pull out a new loaf of bread at the end and be like, okay, like, here's a little loaf of bread that we just used. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean.
TV magic.
Yes.
Yeah, if I do that particular recipe for bread that I was showing on Tuesday, because it's not difficult, it's just a lot of time in between letting it proof and ferment, and so it's not super stream friendly. So if I do that recipe, I'll probably just like do as much as I can. I don't know if we'll get to the point of actually being able to bake it off and show the final result. We'll see. Like I said, I still actually don't really know what I'm doing on Saturday, so.
Yeah, you're ahead of the power curve. A bakery near us is starting to sell sourdough starters because everybody's stuck inside.
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking about sourdough starters at work too.
Really?
On our Slack. For you, food isn't really a problem. There's a restaurant at the hospital where you work which is allowed to stay open, so you've been eating there a lot. Also, your local supermarkets to be better stocked now. Awesome. Yeah, for the most part, our supermarkets have been pretty well stocked. It's just been things like flour. I think eggs can be difficult to get if you leave it too late in the day. When I went the other day, there was a good supply of meat, but it was getting pretty low. So you definitely have to go early on to get your choice of meat anyway. But otherwise, the produce seemed very well stocked. So it's okay. It's still weird that there's a lot of stuff that's in demand and people are either hoarding it or just everybody's shopping at the same time and running supplies down low. Tonight's dinner, leftover potato dish with melted cheese and some marinated shrimp and chicken. Wow, that sounds awesome. Nice. Last hostel you went to just had a Dunkin' Donuts and a Subway, really?
It was really weird. Like, the entire lobby always smelled like donuts and breakfast sandwiches.
Well,
like, every time I went there for physical therapy, I'm just like, I want a donut, but I can't walk right now. This is a bad combination.
you got the two major food groups, bread and donuts.
Yep. Oh man, I totally got a couple Subway sandwiches though.
Subway sandwiches always smell better than they taste to me.
Yeah.
The bread smells amazing, but then you get it and it's like kind of flat tasting.
It was right when they were trying to do hot sandwiches too, and so this was like a tiny space that wasn't really built for having the oven on all the time. I'm sure they had a cafeteria somewhere too, but
Yeah.
actually it was the old Walter Reed building, so I
Oh,
don't
really?
know if
Okay.
you ever ate there.
I haven't eaten there. It was across the street from where I sort of worked.
Gotcha.
That's another story. Hey, Cool Coyote, how's it going? Hope you're doing well.
Oh, I thought he was raising a paw to Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, I love that emote. That's super adorable. So yeah, we're gonna do chicken carbonara, which is something I haven't made in a long time, and I don't think I've made it the right way before. This, to Marley Spoon's credit, the recipe is, for the most part, how you're supposed to make carbonara. And what I mean by that is the result, the end pasta dish that you get is super creamy. It's pasta, pretty much your choice of shape, in a very creamy sauce with some sort of pork product and cheese. It's kind of lemony as well. And a lot of people take the shortcut to get that creaminess of using cream or some sort of milk product. But that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to just use an egg yolk, and that egg yolk gets stirred into the hot pasta, and it kind of cooks the egg as you toss it all together, and it emulsifies and makes everything creamy. And that's what Marley Spoon does. So that's kind of cool on them that they're taking that method and not using a shortcut. But it's kind of indulgent because I say pork product. We're going to use bacon. Traditionally, it would be pancetta, or if you want to get really fancy, you'd use guanciale, which is a cured pork cheek, which is supposed to be super flavorful, sort of the ultimate way of making this recipe. I don't think I've ever had it with guanciale before, so if we ever do carbonara for our Saturday stream, or one of the rare non-meal box weekday streams, I'll have to try and get a hold of guanciale to see how that tastes, because that's supposed to be like chef kiss hand carbonara.
Bemused Duck can't get chocolate digestive biscuits at their house right now.
Oh no!
Or at their supermarket, rather. So breakfast is not the same. Or sorry, no, that just it's the one thing that breaks him.
Oh yes, no, that I would be in the same situation. I think if that was a regular thing in the U.S.
So I was thinking, you need to try making chocolate digestive biscuits sometime.
I think there's a recipe for that.
I just put it in the chat.
You just, of course you did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we should try making that sometime.
It's a Stella Parks recipe. It seems pretty straightforward. It's just AP flour, whole wheat flour, sugar, baking powder, baking soda, salt, buttermilk, and dark chocolate.
That's super straightforward. That's something I probably have. I don't think I have dark chocolate or buttermilk, but I think I have everything else.
Yeah, I don't remember if the chocolate morsels were completely picked clean.
I'll have to try making that. Of course, if it's a Stella Parks recipe, it's probably got some sort of do this the day before kind of thing. Well, it doesn't sound like it because there's no like yeast or.
Nope. Active time 1 hour. Total time 1.5 hours. I feel like to make it a stream, you'd have to stuff ice cream between two of them. Though.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. That's tempting to do. I would love to try my hand at making homemade digestive. Even though you can actually get digestive biscuits here, it's not super common. It would be interesting to try making some homemade ones. Well, I'll think about that. That's a good suggestion.
What's a digestive biscuit, by the way?
It's a cookie that helps you digest.
So it's it's about the size of a sugar cookie. It tastes vaguely graham cracker like, and it goes really well with tea.
Yes. Yeah, the traditional ones don't have chocolate. They're just, I guess it's whole wheat. I mean, originally I guess it would be whole wheat flour. I like the hobnobs, which have a lot of rolled oats in them, which is my favorite because it has a little bit more texture to it. But digestives are really good.
I mean, they have chocolate if you're Hugh Grant.
Yes, that is
Love
true.
Actually reference. Wow, I have gotten really off base in like the first 10 minutes of this stream.
I wonder if Stella Parks has done a hobnob recipe.
You're a hobnob.
Because I feel like that would be very similar to digestive biscuits, just with rolled oats mixed in as well. Because I think that's the only distinguishing factor. At least that's, as a person who eats them, that's the only thing I was able to tell is different between them. All right. So yeah, we're going to get started with the carbonara. And I'm not going to do a whole lot of modifications to this one. I got some chicken when I went to the supermarket last time. If that sounded weird when I said chicken, it's because Buster just rammed my behind as I was talking. Yes, hello. Hello. Wow, even with his cone, he doesn't show up on the camera. Come on, off. There's a good boy. So I'm going to add some chicken to this just to add a little bit of extra protein because as written, it's just bacon is the only protein. I figured a little bit of chicken would be nice. And I don't know, do you want garlic bread? Because we have the sourdough.
Probably.
I know I'm already making the recipe more indulgent by adding chicken.
This is the most indulgent recipe this week. I feel like we could do like one slice of bread and cut it in half for the two of us if we wanted it, but...
I always love bread with pasta, even though it's carbs on carbs. A lot of pasta has a sauce with it, so I need something to sop up any sauce that isn't caught up in the pasta. So yeah, we'll just do one slice of bread.
Off?
Finally got a new power supply for MacBook, so back to having a bigger screen in the kitchen. Woot!
Yay!
That's good to hear.
Wish I had known. Oh, hey, off. Buster, I might have to put you in your pen if you're gonna keep jumping.
Yeah, if you need to put him in his crate just to stop him from jumping up. He's pretty safe jumping up now, I think, but we should still try to minimize it when possible. All right, so yeah, here is the final result. Oh yeah, this also has some grilled broccolini, which will be nice because a little bit of green helps break up the rich pasta, so that'll be a nice accompaniment. Yeah, part of me wants to keep sort of always getting takeout to support all the local restaurants here, but that's also not at all healthy. So it's good when you can to try and go and get some ingredients from the supermarket and make your own thing, even if it's just a really quick dish of just a few components. I also feel like there's something normal, some sense of normalcy to just getting in your kitchen and cooking, and helps you feel like things are how they should be for a change.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. The first few days of quarantine, we'd be in the office, or not the office, we'd be working from home all day, and at the very end, I'd be like, I've been at my desk staring at the monitor all day, I'm gonna cook right now, and I'd be in the kitchen being like, I'm doing all the cooking, and then like a couple minutes into it, you'd be like, hey, can I do anything? And I'm like, no, this is my one way of unwinding, and then I'm like, wait, this is Andrew's way of unwinding too. Yes, go chop that.
Yeah. $21, that's not bad for a MagSafe. Alright, so spaghetti, which is, I would say, the traditional shape for carbonara. I will say, since you're using an egg, a raw egg, and you mix it directly into the pasta, something with a lot of surface area like spaghetti or fettuccine or linguine is the pasta that you would want to aim for, because it provides more heat for the egg to cook as you toss it together. Lemon, the broccolini, which still looks like it's really good, fresh quality, and the sage. Alright, so let's start getting some water going for the pasta. So I think everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but meal boxes are definitely becoming a solution for people to get food during these stay-at-home days, because Marley Spoon sent me an email today saying, everyone's signing up for our service. We have to load balance when we prepare these boxes and mail them out. So they moved our delivery date from Tuesday to Thursday. So we're gonna have to rejigger Tuesday, maybe. Either we have one more recipe left on this week's meal box, so either we hold that till Tuesday, or we do some kind of non-meal box recipe on Tuesday with whatever we can get at the supermarket between now and then.
Their UX lets you go until the adjust delivery day thing.
Does it? I actually hadn't tried. I just assumed.
Do you mind if I try moving it to Tuesday?
You can try. They might send us a nasty letter.
It's spinning. Cool. Yeah, it said thanks. Your changes are now applied to all orders.
Interesting.
However, there might be some orders where we couldn't change the delivery spot. Please take a look.
Probably refresh the page and it'll bounce back to being Thursday.
Nope. Everything upcoming is scheduled for Tuesday, except for next week, which is scheduled for Wednesday.
Oh, next week is Wednesday now.
Yep, and just moved up one day.
Interesting. Okay, well that still means we have to figure out what to do for for Tuesday.
Due to the upcoming holiday, your delivery for 3/31 will be delivered on 4/1 instead.
That's probably Easter?
Oh yeah, Easter. Oh my gosh. You're doing ricotta and mushroom cannelloni?
Yeah.
Vegetarian pad see ew.
Cannelloni is another thing I haven't done in forever, so I figured it might be a nice thing to make.
And some sort of Greek pulled pork thingy?
There's always the challenge of trying to recreate a box meal with freshly bought ingredients. That's a good idea. It's always a gamble with what you can find at the supermarket these days, though. So
Also, usually a meal box is like, here is 1.5 tablespoons of hoisin or something, and you end up buying a big giant bottle of.
Oh yeah, I don't mind that so much. For me, it really is just making sure that you can get all the things you need. So yeah, we'll think about it. Maybe we can just have chocolate digestives for dinner on Tuesday.
I mean, honestly, it would help our takeout habit if we cooked on the weekend and had takeout during weekdays when everybody else was cooking at home.
How so?
Oh, we keep getting food on the weekend out like we normally do because we eat out on the weekends a lot.
Yeah.
And everybody else does.
Yeah.
So if we went out for food on like Tuesday,
Oh yeah.
there wouldn't be as much of a demand.
But the stream.
Okay, on Monday or Wednesday.
I'd say pick 10 that have similar recipes and see which ones you can get. But that requires planning, Zap. No, you're right.
My strategy is to make a flexible dish like a potato hash or a stir fry, where if you can't get bell pepper, it's broccoli thyme or something along those lines. But I guess if you're out of rice or potato, you're screwed.
I think we can figure something out.
Not to get too behind the scenes with everybody, but do you mind if I add a fourth meal onto our next box, by the way?
When is our next box? You mean next week's or the week after?
Next week's, the Wednesday box that's coming on
Wednesday?
the 1st.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
It's one less grocery shopping we need to do.
You could do a poll and have chat decide what the extra dish is.
Gosh, but they have like 20 different options.
Yeah, they have a lot of options. It'll probably take a while to set that poll up. Peel and thinly slice.
Oh gosh. Feel free to tell me to stop rambling. But I got a call from my dad today.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "You're my personal IT department. I need a technology suggestion."
One of those calls.
Yes, it was a work IT suggestion. He is in charge of delivering meals to people at home during this whole thing with one of the things he's involved with.
Interesting.
But he's delivering for a bunch of old people who don't reliably check their email. And right now they are literally handing in worksheets of here's the meals I want for the upcoming days.
Oh gosh.
And he's just like, how do I do this with technology? And so I had to verbally walk him through the concept of Google Forms. If you've ever done a SurveyMonkey, it's like that, but easier.
But then you're also assuming that these older folks could use a Google form.
Yes, I think they all have online bill pay, so there's a certain amount of email basic level of havingness.
Basic level of havingness. Okay.
But I think the idea was if they can get even just half of their people using it, it would be logistically a lot easier for them to manage the other half that's still doing paper.
That's true. And then you have those people who both turn in a form and fill out the online form. And they're different.
Oh gosh. Wow. One of the recipes for next week is called Faster Than Takeout Chicken Wonton Stir Fry.
Yeah, Marley's been starting to do these dinner in 20 minutes thing for people who like to cook but don't necessarily always have the time to do it or a lot of time to devote to it. which some of them sound pretty good. I think if I sign up for one of those, that's sort of a candidate for lots of augmentations if I can get the ingredients for it. Lemon zest, a tablespoon of juice, cup of bacon. I might cook the bacon and then cut it, because that'll be easier, and I don't really see the advantage of cutting it first.
Chicken tenders you were gonna cook?
I wasn't sure. Ballpark, maybe 3 each.
Oh.
What's that?
I thought you were gonna say 3.
3 for the 2 of us? You just want 1.5 tenders? They're small.
That's true. I still might do 4 or 5. Okay. I mean, it's just got bacon with it already, and
yeah,
egg and cheese and pasta.
No, I know. I get it. But chicken breast is the leanest.
This is true. If you want to do 6, you are more than welcome. Especially since, like you said, I don't actually have them in front of me, so I'm just trying to be your better angel.
I appreciate you trying to keep me healthy.
Yeah, I'm seriously looking at all these delicious foods to sketch for next week, and I'm like, what's the light option? Oh, interesting. They have a Filipino chicken adobo, which we did a while ago.
We've done that one, yeah. Or something like it.
And theirs looks completely different.
Didn't we do... Wasn't that a Marley Spoon?
No, that was a Serious Eats recipe.
Was it a Serious Eats? Okay.
Because it had like the black peppercorns that got stewed in the water, so they were like squishy. Or, sorry, the broth. And then we did the garlic fried rice.
Oh, yeah. It'd be interesting to see what Marley Spoon's take on that would be. You said it looks completely different.
Yeah, it's got a fried rice with green beans and carrot. And the sauce is coconut milk based.
So I hope y'all are hanging in there okay. It feels really weird.
Yeah. I was talking to a coworker today who went on a vacation the same week we did.
Yeah.
But they were driving back from Phoenix rather than flying by air.
Uh-huh.
And they just said the highway back was nothing but trucks. Like, there were no people voluntarily traveling long distances between cities at that point.
Huh.
Actually, they might have gone a week later, come to think of it. I don't know. I'd like to think that that person I was talking to would be responsible enough to not go a week later, but they were also just visiting family, not going to Disney World.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's interesting to see how things are unfolding. I think there's a lot of folks in Austin who aren't taking the stay-at-home stuff seriously.
Myself included. I went to the post office. Oh man, I mean,
as long as you're being social distancing, you're fine.
This is true.
So those people who pictures of people at the beach and...
Yeah, that's the classic example.
And there was some other thing in Austin that people were just not paying attention to the stay-at-home thing at all.
That's not good.
So hopefully we're not on the verge of getting spiking cases here. So we've had this Parmesan, this pre-grated Parmesan for a while, so I'm going to use this first. I'm probably going to be using all of this for this recipe probably, but they also sent us a brick of Parmesan if I need it later.
They sent us 3 bricks.
Yeah, they sent us several, so I'll buff those out if we need them. I don't think we will though. Sage out the way.
Got one recipe on here that's a spiral pasta and ragu with garlic bread and a spinach salad. But the spinach salad is literally spinach leaves with vinegar, sugar, Parmesan, and oil. It is like calling out for a shallot and some grape tomatoes and whatnot, and this is not the week to try and be augmenting a salad.
Yeah, mailbox salads are always an afterthought, I feel like. Unless it's a main dish salad, like the whole thing is a salad.
Seriously, look at that.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of look at that, that bacon looks incredible.
It does. We'll start cooking that next.
Yes.
I'm not going to cut it up first. I'm just going to cook the whole strips and then cut it up when it's done.
So you're a cook first, cut later enthusiast.
If that's what it's called, sure. Sometimes it does make sense to cut the bacon first. Just depends on the recipe. For this recipe, I don't think it matters at all. So. It was images of people crowding in parks and beaches on Sunday that led to the more stringent lockdown measures here on Monday. Yeah, I think that it was parks here as well. The people were not, I mean, people want to get out of the house, understandably. We've had super warm weather here. And if that's your thing, you want to be out of the house and enjoying it. And there's some very picturesque, popular parks and walking paths here in Austin. So everybody flocks to those, but then you're no longer social distancing because there's stretches of that walking paths that you just have to get close to people in order to get by. And yeah.
No, I'm just imagining traffic guards being like one in, one out, in like the little constrained path part.
Yeah.
Or like when there's road construction and they have the guys being like, slow, stop, go.
Yes. Let's see how many chicken tenders I have total. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Can you switch me to the cutting board, Stuart?
Yeah.
4, 5. So I have 6 in this package.
And I just go ahead and do it then.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
That's not too much, you're right. Those were actually a lot smaller than I expected.
I don't know if there's actually gonna be room in there.
Yeah, I would just set it out on a cutting board maybe.
Yep. All right, so 6 little chicken tenders. I'll just season these with salt and pepper. I'll probably sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan on them as well when they're close to being cooked.
Hold on.
Now Stuart's regretting the fact that we're doing 6. 0 Q at the HEB during lunch today, which says people are staying at home in Round Rock. That's good. Yeah, when I went at lunchtime on Tuesday, and that's when they were sold out of flour. And there was definitely a queue out front. It didn't last long. I was probably in there for 15 minutes at most, so it wasn't bad at all, but there was definitely a queue.
They put the stay-at-home place in order on Tuesday as well, I think, or maybe that was Wednesday.
No, you're right. It was midnight Tuesday that it went into effect, so people were probably doing their last shop before having to hunker down.
Which makes no sense because grocery stores
So
weren't
they're still
affected.
essential, yeah. They're still open. I know. Well, we'll probably be going at least once sometime between now and I guess Saturday, because if we're going to do a stream on Saturday, we'll need some ingredients for that, depending on what we choose to do. So we'll see what it's like.
The running right now, I think, is either shepherd's pie or a chicken stir fry.
Those are definitely two contenders, yes. I feel like, haven't we done shepherd's pie on stream before? The Serious Eats recipe? I thought we had. Maybe it was just a meal box shepherd's pie.
We're allowed to do repeats.
I know, I just don't want to be too repetitive.
Well, potatoes, frozen diced vegetables, and meat, and ground meat are actually pretty easy to come by even in these trying times. So, as far as like things that take a while to stream but are also interesting, it's an option.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of frozen veggies, before I forget, do you know if we have frozen peas in the freezer?
We have peas, but they might be mixed with other things. Do you want peas right now?
It's not necessarily 100% traditional, but peas in carbonara can be a thing, and I like it because it adds a little bit of sweet freshness
I'll
to
give peas a chance.
carbonara. But if we don't have just peas, that's fine. And I can see that the camera there is a little bit blurry, so I'm going to switch over to the cutting board for a second while I clean off this camera. Rev, hello, how are you? People in Oxford seem to be being quite sensible with the directives that we've been given. Come speak for the rest of the country. Well, that's good. Yeah, I feel like Austin is a city that, if you'd asked me before all this happened, whether folks would follow the recommendations of staying at home, I'd say, oh yeah, folks in Austin are pretty sensible about that sort of thing.
You would think so, but it turns out not heeding medical advice does not go along ideological lines. I'm not even joking. They've done studies, and it turns out like anti-vaxxers or like people who get really into, oh gosh, there's like a half dozen people on our stream. I don't want to call anybody out, but essential oils are nonsense. It turns out like people who are anti-vax or like really into essential oils, it just is folks who are trying to regain control over things in their life that they don't feel like they have enough control over, and that doesn't go down party lines.
It's possibly partly that, and also just, I think if folks have hammered, for better or for worse, that the coronavirus affects older folks more severely than younger folks. And so younger folks are like, oh, sweet, I don't have to worry about this. I'm just going to go out and do whatever I want.
Yeah, there's that too. We're a fairly young city.
Have some 3 in diameter portobello caps we're going to stuff with a chicken, broccoli, and cheese mix. Yum. That certainly sounds a lot healthier than what we're making.
I'm pretty sure Zap called me out on Give Peas a Chance.
Well, that's one that you just have to expect Stuart will make a joke about. I mean, that's just like one of your traditional dad jokes right there.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, so like I was saying, the best pork product to use with carbonara is supposedly guanciale, which don't think I could get a hold of easily, and I don't think I've ever had carbonara with guanciale. So that's something I need to try and do next time I make this. But if you want to go a little bit more Italian, you could do pancetta. And pancetta is essentially just bacon that's not smoked. So if you use pancetta instead, it's kind of a more subdued flavor. You don't get the smokiness. Younger folks are dying now too in larger quantities. Yes, too many 18 to 40-year-olds on ventilators because they didn't want to listen. Indeed. Yeah, it's like I said, I think it was hammered in early on that, oh yeah, this is affecting older folks more. And people just took that way too literally. And it's more that, yeah, the older you are, the more chance there is for complications. But it's not like you're invincible if you're younger. There is still a large chance that you may have issues from the coronavirus if you catch it.
Yeah, plus, like, even if you're an invincible young person, if you don't help stop the spread of it, the hospitals will be overloaded. And then, like, if you get into a car accident or get the really bad flu or just, like, literally anything that requires you to be hospitalized, you could be in a bad situation because there's not enough beds.
Yep. And it's not the kind of thing that you want to try and catch just, oh, I'm young, I can catch it, and then I'll be immune to it, and I won't suffer any major side effects. It's still a flu-like virus, and flu-like viruses are not kind to your body. They leave lasting effects, mostly on your heart. So it's just not a good idea to take it lightly. The longer you're on the ventilators, the more likely you aren't getting off. Almost on 4 weeks for isolation. You're a gamer. Not much difference. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of memes going around of gamers and programmers being like, "I've been preparing for this my whole life."
That feeling when you realize social distancing is your Saturday night.
I was saying earlier, though, I'm an introvert. So you'd think that this would be like my dream come true, but I've realized as this week has gone on, and I guess last week too, really, it's like I do crave a little bit of human interaction. And yes, Stuart counts, but it's nice to get out of the house and actually interact with other folks, even if it's just being alone together, that kind of thing. It's
You need
very
that third space. You like going to coffee shops.
Yeah, it's very isolating, and I know they call it self-isolation, but it is isolating. And even with video, Twitch, it's something that's not quite the same.
I did realize that I haven't been out of the house in a while when I was playing a game in VR, and I quit the game, and it kicked me back into the loading program, which is basically the construct from the Matrix. And I had set up my loading program as like a generic cabin on the edge of like a cliffside on a mountain. And I'm just like staring up at the menu of games I can launch, and then I like look to my left and there's the deck, which just has this big sweeping vista of a bunch of pine trees and stuff. And I have never stepped onto the deck in forever that I've owned this VR headset, and yet I'm just like, oh, I think I want to go over there and look at that view. Like, oh, it's so pretty.
Alright, so let's get the chicken cooking here. Actually, before I do the chicken, let's get the broccolini in the oven. Because that's got to roast for a little bit. So it's probably a good idea to get that started. We'll let the chicken marinate in that salt for a little bit. You're a natural hermit, but you get your interactions via internet. Been that way since the 90s. Well, then you are super prepared for this. And hopefully that also means you will have no issues with the coronavirus if it gets more widespread in Maine. How's island life treating us? I'm still taking Animal Crossing relatively slow based on what I've been reading. It seems like everybody is much further ahead in their island development than I am. But I'm still super enjoying it. I got Sahara visiting my village today, which was nice. I don't know if it had been confirmed whether Sahara was in the new game or not. So I was happy to see Sahara with her selection of floors and walls. I got a very pretty snowflake rug.
Ooh.
Which is sort of like here in Texas. Right now the temperature is nothing close to anything that would support snowflakes, but it's very pretty. Transfer to a rimmed baking sheet.
We've seriously got a picture on our wall of snowy Washington, D.C. to remind us of the cold. Yeah, when I first started playing Animal Crossing, I was like rushing to unlock like all the shops and everything. And then I realized I was going way too fast and slowed my roll a tiny bit and just sat on my paid-off house for a couple days before expanding it and whatnot.
I mean, if you're at that point, go ahead and do it. For me, it's not like I'm intentionally holding back. I'm just not playing it very quickly.
Yeah.
I literally just got the bridge built today.
The fun part for me is all my shops keep having things that remind me of Andrew in them. So I'm just flooding Andrew with mails being like, here's a stand mixer, here's a coffee pot, here's etc.
I actually got my first kitchen thing in my own shop today.
What? What'd you get?
A rice cooker.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Now I just need a house big enough to house all of my kitchen equipment.
My shop yesterday had a bunch of those electric scooters that you see littered all over downtown. And I really wanted to buy like 8 of them and just set them up at random points on the beach.
No. That's too much like real life. Don't know if I told you, the guy upstairs from you died, and they didn't find him for a week. They had to cut a hole in your ceiling. Today they fixed it, so it's been stressful, worrying if the guys working on it have been infected. That is a concern. I'm sure it's okay, though, but wow, that's intense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Well, I had shooting stars last night.
What?
And you can make wishes on shooting stars.
Oh, that's
And,
adorable.
I woke up this morning to tons of star pieces littering my beach.
Oh, cool.
I don't know what they're used for, if they're crafting material or what, but I'm holding on to them for now.
Nice. I got my first money tree growing in.
Oh, yeah?
If you dig up some bells, there'll be like a glowing hole in the ground, and if you throw money in it, it'll sprout a tree that has 3 bags of that amount of money in a few days. I think up to 10k. So if you throw 10k bells in there, you get 3k bells in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I've been doing that with all of the sparkling bell spots.
I forgot how they worked, and I threw an orange in the first one I saw.
All right, season with salt and pepper. I put some red pepper flakes on here too, because red pepper flakes go really well with broccoli and broccolini. 18 to 20 minutes. All right, so recipe has us do the pasta next.